That right there is unmistakably an IS300. Now you might be saying, Marcus, you already drove the Fisch Racing IS300. Actually, you'd be wrong because that was an IS400. Come on, get it right. Let's take a moment before we drive and find out what's under the hood. Actually, you probably already saw it in the title of this 1J swapped, I'll just say it now, IS300. I want to take a moment. Let's just take a moment. I want to mentally bring myself back to driving that UZ and nitrous powered IS400. So right now, I can have a very accurate comparison to show you guys the differences between these very distinct driving experiences. Yeah, that was a day. I mean, that's gonna be tough to beat, you guys. That's gonna be really tough to beat. That sound is something I can't quickly forget, but let's go for a drive and see what happens. Fires up right away. Every time it starts, it goes into quiet exhaust mode, which is no good. Whew. 6 puck, but not actually that bad. It's still sprung. And first things first, you guys, if you did in fact watch the IS400 video, or videos I should say, the seat that's in that car is fixed, of course, and then Henry's a little bit taller than me, so I was not actually able to really drive that car properly. And whether it's I can't reach the pedals or my arms are like, looks like I'm constantly holding on for dear life. I get it. It looks silly and it looks unnatural, and that's because it is, but I think that's gonna stop me from driving a car? No. Let's go for, wow, throttle is incredibly twitchy right off the bat. It's got a factory LSD in the rear, just so you guys know. And of course, the CD 6-speed with the Serial 9 shifter kit on it. A little bit sideways. Third gear hooked up. That was about 50% throttle. The spool is ridiculous. Ethanol, of course, helps with that. We can hear the blow-off valve. It does have an external gate as well, so we'll get a little bit of extra noise. The UZ car, of course, is built for drifting. That's losing traction in fourth. The UZ car is built for drifting. That's exactly what that car is for. Upon first impressions, that's exactly what you get from that car. Cage, wet shot of nitrous, stripped out interior, racing seats and everything. Here, we actually have FRS seats. This is basically to prove the Fisch Racing JZ to CD, so a 350Z 6-speed bellhousing adapter kit. This is their development car for that kit. More of the dailyable kind of street fun car, and you don't have to worry about necessarily things as much as, oh, how much steering angle do I have? Are my axles gonna hold up? How's my differential set up for a specific application like drifting? Versus this is very much just plug and play.
Hey guys, I'm Henry from Fisch Racing Tech, and this is our 1J swapped IS300. This was the car that basically had the first ever CD JZ bell housing installed in it, the first billet prototype. It was a stock 2J GE, and then from there on we ended up getting 1J swapped, VVTi of course. And this, what you're seeing here right now, is basically the second or third iteration of this car. It's not like we were the first guys to do it. It's just the first guys to do an actual one-piece bell housing. But yeah, no, we just started working away at it, picking away at it, and of course the good old hammer massaging to fit this massive transmission in this car, but actually it fits quite well. Yeah.
Are we able to pop the hood real quick?
Of course.
All right. Easy to rev match. Revs up nice and quick, nice and easy. Not much pitch or dive too. The car's very, very planted. It's got this kind of like BN style body kit on it too. This reminds me of Christian's car. If you guys remember Christian's JZX. Squirrely. Wow. So surprised at the feel of that factory diff. It's like you give it throttle and it wants to oversteer so badly. But if you can modulate it, it just wants to steer, not oversteer. It's good. So much feedback through everything, through the steering, through the shifter. So the Serial 9 shifter kit is good. It's very tight, very notchy, lends itself a little bit better to track use, and that's why the shifter is, I mean, I think it's a great height, but the throws are so short, almost to a detriment. Fifth is very easy to miss here. Very easy to miss. This is an original left-hand drive car, obviously. It was a manual, a factory manual car. Extremely low mileage, 68, 70,000 kilometers, that is. And when you talk to Henry, when I talked to Henry about this, he seemed a little bit like, at the time he didn't have regret, but he really wanted to just jump in and get the build done and do it for the people who needed CD swaps and wanted to do manual swaps. They went ahead and did it, but now he kind of expresses a little bit, not of regret, but of like maybe I should have just spent the extra time and scoped out an automatic car and tore that apart, rather than a really low mileage, clean example. Another thing that's really funny is this is actually Henry's first turbo car. Imagine your first turbo car being a 500 wheel horsepower IS300. Great power level. Not so much that it's frightening. Not so little with lag, where the lag ends up being disappointing. It's actually kind of the opposite. The lack of lag lends itself so that this car kind of exceeds expectations in almost every way. The engine, of course, it came with a JZ from the factory, so is it literally just bolt in, or? Pretty
much, yeah. I mean, the 1J flange and the 2J are identical. There's not many differences. The main differences being is, this is a turbo motor from factory. Doesn't have the funny crossover intake, so it's a cleaner look, and obviously packaging the turbo inside the bay, but everything actually fits very, very well. It's tight, but there's enough room. But basically we ended up going with upgraded injectors. They're 1050cc IDs. We did an upgraded turbo. That's a 53mm Scremen built turbo with a Fuse Fab top mount manifold. And then from there we did stage 2 BC cams. There's a triple hanger pump setup in the tank. It's only running 2 pumps though. But if I wanted, I could put a 3rd pump in if I'm going for big power, but that's more than enough for what we're doing here. But yeah, as far as power, that's pretty much it. And then obviously the standalone ECU. Yeah. So on this particular car, we're running the Max ECU, which I'm a huge fan of. They're fairly new, I guess, on this side of the globe, but they've been around for a while, and it's a great product. Done locally here by Post Haste Performance. And yeah, I'm a huge fan. Like the next couple cars we're building, I'm gonna go Max for sure.
Henry's got his phone here. So what I can do, yeah, see, and then if we swipe left here, we can see, yeah, we can see all our levels, what we need: RPM, map, oil pressure. We got coolant temp, voltage, intake air temp. And then here, oh, we'll try the burble tune, actually. We haven't tried the burble tune. are the burbles? I don't hear anything. Where's the theater, Henry? Where is the theater? Such a natural swap, of course. Of course. A 2J could be had, but 1Js are cheaper. And they do have a different sound to them. Actually, in certain scenarios, in most scenarios, this might not be popular opinion, in most scenarios, I prefer the sound of a 1J. The IS chassis does not, in my opinion, lend itself to big power, like 700 plus. I just like the factory kind of clean look on the interior here, right? I can see the gauge cluster, there's no extra gauges. Everything's done through the phone. That's super stealth. Not like the rest of the car is stealth at all, it's the opposite of that, but just those couple things alone.
Just like a clean street car. To just go cruising, go to shows, you know, do some burnouts, some donuts, yeah. Have some fun with it, right? Yeah. That's basically it, and just be able to showcase our product, and yeah.
And the turbo really, the spool really speaks to that the most, I feel like.
That's right, yeah. Like I didn't want a big laggy turbo, so when I had Chris at Scremin build this turbo, I basically told him I want something as close as possible to the stock power curve. And that's basically what he came up with. So it's, you know, he rated it right around 500 horse, 25 PSI, and that's basically where it came in at. A little bit too low for my liking, like you gotta be so careful with speed bumps and such. So I wanna just raise it maybe an extra 10, 15 millimeters and, you know, get an alignment done and tidy up a few things, and that's basically it. The car that I think we'll be completing next is actually an RX-7 FC, and we're doing a K24 swap in that. We're going to be demoing our obviously our CD to K24 bellhousing kit in that. It's going to be a really cool car. It's kind of more simple NA ITBs. Should make around 300-ish. It's a convertible too, so it'll be a nice little cruiser, fun little road car. And then the Stagia, we're kind of going, I don't want to say we're going all out, but aiming for 650 horse. So it's going to have complete built motor in it. We're planning to do the R34 front end conversion. Yeah. And yeah, I think it should be a really cool build. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of sedans and especially wagons. I've always been, like, I've had some hatchbacks growing up. I had a BMW E91 wagon, which was really cool, manual 6-speed. So I've always been a huge fan of the wagons. To me, they always look cooler compared to a sedan. Yeah. I just like them a bit more. But so yeah, so I finally have a wagon now, the Stagia.
Yeah. Let's go drive.
Sounds good.
All right, this is what we want to do though. Standing launch control on. So what we can do, you guys know launch control, map the gas, it'll hold around 3,000 RPM, and then we dump the clutch. I bogged it down. All right, let's try that again. You really gotta feather the clutch. Sorry, not feather the clutch, the throttle in first gear. So much torque. The steering is phenomenal out of the box. You would never guess that this is just kind of like a compact family four-door sedan. It feels like a Skyline or a Silvia in terms of how quick the rack is. Yeah, just a little bit more street friendly than the UZ car. Of course, there is a downside though. There is a downside to the 1JZ, and that of course is, versus the UZ, which is aluminum block, aluminum heads, probably can't get as much power, as much torque, before you could potentially compromise the bottom end. Here, of course, it's an iron block, so it's a little bit heavier up there. So that's the only kind of downside. This is really a good sweet spot for power. Even with just 255s back there, it still will hook up on a relatively cold day like today. In some ways, I want to say the JZ has a bit more flavor than the 1UZ, only if we stay blind to the rest of the car though. The sounds aren't better here, they're just unexpected and ever-changing. It'll kick out in a well-mannered way whenever it feels like it, while the UZ is great at following orders. It's light on its feet, tossable, right? Despite that though, that car doesn't know how or when to chill. It's always loud, it's always abrasive, and of course, incredibly unforgiving. I can respect that. All right, well, that's a wrap, guys. I think that went pretty much as well as it could have gone. Henry's doing what this car is meant to do. It's a street car, okay? Just begging to want to be on track. But if you guys haven't already, check out Fisch Racing. You can check out their bell housing adapter kits and everything here locally. They do great stuff and you get what you pay for, and their cars are just on another level. So check it out in the link in the description. You can follow Henry at Fisch Racing. They're on Instagram too. We'll see you next time.